Thank you and welcome. On behalf of Peregrine Arts and Fred Ho and Big Red Media, welcome to the Apollo and to a workshop concert reading of Dragon vs. Eagle, Enter the White Barbarians, which is a new martial arts, music, theater, video animation piece by, I don't know how many hyphens to put in there with Fred's work, by Fred Ho, who has been a visionary artist working here in New York for a number of years, which many of you may know already. There's some familiar faces and some new faces in the audience. This is a kind of midway developmental stage for the piece. The creative development began about a year ago, and so this evening we are premiering the score by Fred and doing a sort of second round of work on the text and exposition of the text by both Fred and Ruth Margraff. Eventually this piece will be accompanied by movement and animated set pieces, and will be going into a full stage production in about a year and a half from now. But this is a full concert reading of the piece this evening, which you'll be seeing and hearing for the first time. The three characters, or the three actresses up here, will be reading the parts of about 11 characters, including our director, Mira Kingsley, who will be performing as well. So understand that as we move through the piece. Without any further ado, but before I get to introducing the ensemble, I will mention there will be a 10-minute intermission that will be announced. I'd like to introduce the ensemble, Fred Ho's Afro-Asian Music Ensemble, and the players of Big Red Media. Enjoy.
Dragon versus Eagle. Enter the White Barbarians. Chapter 1, When Heroes Fall. In the land of the Eagles, a silver stadium is unveiled at the triumphalist Silver Games built for platform combat. Jockstrap speaks. Tonight, we bring to you the game of games, beyond all history, fantasy, and the future as we know it. The triumphalist Silver Games, we trumpet the triumph of our eagle wingspan with the zeal of a crusade. We know you feel a mad rush, mass craving to be great like us, to survive this game more deadly than all wars combined, more destructive than mass destruction. Strategies of fear and sacrifice are zero threat when there's no prize but glory and no winner like the game itself. You see, we built this moment for you, this Silver City, just for you. At every turn, you'll find the gleam of biotechnico advantage and the excellent conceit of a silver monolith. You see, we forged your usage and your will like steel, your training to achieve the highest fighting skill. So get on up here! Enter, please, the Dragons! We knew you once as only ancient in your so-called eastern corner. You were beastly prophets, brutal, beautiful, swollen with a mandate of heaven. We used to know your fine silk and fine porcelain back when you needed nothing, so we gave you opiates to keep you humble. But you never quite delivered prosperity to a land of paper tigers and trinket pirates. You are the renegades of torture training and prestige. You are the Dragons! Promise that our games are over. We've eliminated every culture that aspired to be weapons grade, so you're the last to step up to your voluntary genocide, or do you want to hook up to survival like a entrepreneurial viral suck on a vitamin B? So, let the games begin! It's time to rise, time to fall. It's time for Dragon versus Eagle! monkey-style kung fu trickster. This guy burns up razzle-dazzle like it's decoy. He's more of a ham than a hickory-smoking can of applause. More of a show-off than a Peking opera Liberace. This fool is gonna fake you out. Pretend to be simple scrawny, but don't forget he's a deadly little peacock with a good-for-nothing eye candy splatter. Watch out for Mr. Good-for-Nothing Dragon! Round 2. Platform 2. For us. We got a stalker sort of drone that can worm its way into deep-sea bunkers. Outer space or that pocket knife you lost when you were 10 years old. He's Ivy League. He's blackmail, and he's slaughter in the shape of an undergrad soldier yahoo! He'll brainwash you, street smart you, slip your weapon right out from under your mind. He's in your nightmares, he's in your craw, he's right behind you in the corner of your eye. He is Terror Master Eagle! Fighters, on your mark. Ready? Begin! Let's go! You said there'd be no prize, no winner. Yeah, I know. Shut up! I can rank things if I want to. You want to know how I know I'm right? I look at my bank account. Yeah, so, round 3 on platform 3. It's you and me, Inspector Lin the Dragon. Yeah, I recognize your high charisma. Heard you fight crime tooth and claw. Heard you trust in justice. Never take a bribe or flattery, so I won't even bother. Over here, it's me. Hello, I'm a dreamboat sort of cover boy. I've been denim washed for daytime soap success. I'm good at Wall Street, off the cuff. First of the Art of War brat pack to use my junk as pesticide. Yes, I've trafficked in some dirty weapons. I make psychoparanoia look like I'm just sexy. I'm ready. You begin? Let's go.
It is superior, efficient, new, robust. It is noble,
teacher for the dragons, Wong Fei Hung. There from the Intermission, and you're a pretty student there. What's your name, honey? Oh, I was about to say, our prize is not just to the death you see, but to the shame. We win the way we always win, by sheer advantage, stealth oblivion, convulsing wealth, and spectacular shame. The dragon has defected and has been defeated. We remind you that the ever-darkening eclipse of the eagle's wingspan shall cling forever to the anguish of the earth. The dragons reel from Lynn's desertion and betrayal. They try not to react to what has just happened, try to exit from the platform with as much dignity as they have left. Chapter 2. Doubt and Dissent. But she has camouflaged herself like a painted dog and vanished into the night. Chapter 3. Search for a past solution. In the magistrate capital, land of the dragons, Magistrate Hung Shi Quan, before a massive gathering, stands before the dragon population.
Scrolls, and within them she unleashed her own invincibility. The lost secrets of the dragon legacy, the dragon history, the dragon way are here to be unleashed for all of us before our eyes. The very scroll of Gamanjang is here, right now, in my hand. I call forth the beginning of the secrets of Shaolin, written first in flesh, emotion, spirit, and the secrets evolved in fragments too marvelous to be lost, too uncommon to be burned or scattered, as if written first from memory, from the mandate of the heavens. I summon local gods, omens, monstrous creatures, and remarkable ghosts. I call to the hinterlands, the strangest beings, and uncommon cauldrons with arrows and swords, 1,000 years old, carrying open wells and graves and fire. I call forth the strange music of the subtle and the marvelous, the dark realm of the cinnabar, the purple river of cold lotus, and the bouquet of silkworm, which, if dipped in water, will never get wet. Who is there now to defeat us? Gamanjang! I am your servant. I am your slave. You are immortal now. You are invincible forever. You are the greatest dragon of all time, Gamanjang. You are the resurrection of the dragon's majesty and power. No more shall the dragon lay in shame and rot squalor in its grave. You, the dragon, you shall rise up. You shall spread your glory to the Chapter 4. Resurrection of Evil. Gamanjang hears Heng Shiquan's call and returns in a magical unfolding where she appears among her followers dressed in white.
Why did you call for me, magistrate?
We are defeated. Our great land and legacy is facing grave humiliation.
Bring forth the humiliators then.
The white barbarians have gone back to their dark, eclipsing lair.
I call them here. Come to me, barbarians!
Gamanjang conjures the white barbarians immediately to the fight. They appear.
Yes.
The greatness of the dragon is restored.
I am Call me master. I destroy you all in 3 astounding moves.
Gamanjang destroys the white barbarians in 3 glorious stealth moves of kick fist,
Master, yes, I shall serve you well.
These eagles have no leader. Follow me. I am supreme.
Yes, yes, of course. I am your eunuch.
To prove his loyalty to his beloved Garmanjang, Hung Shiquan quickly and privately from the masses so that only Garmanjang can see, in one strike, performs his own castration. Chapter 5, Conquest of the World, years 1 through 3. Imperial Palace, Inner Chamber. Hung Shiquan receives the reports of Garmanjang's new rule spreading across the land. First report. Inspector Lin's campaign of fear and paranoia, brutal law and order. We'll give it all to her, to follow her. She
attempting the slaughter anymore, that freedoms have been done. What we can get from all this giving up and giving in, did you think blind trust would be too hard for me?
Terror Master rushing in to give his report. He gestures with his silver phallus like a grand Academy Award that can double as a torture device. Dressed in Secret Service haute couture, he somehow looks more Asian. Media images flash like lightning behind Terror Master, bleaching him in silver blinding glare. Terror Master campaign, worship of leadership, revision of history, lies and nightmarish propaganda.
Your great idea activism was it, Your Honor? Worship of the past, the leader, and the master history, lies, and propaganda has worked as a splendid compliment for the ahistorical Silver Cities to re-envision the history of Silver State security, erasing all the contradictions into unity, clarity, compliance. We didn't know that history was so clear and powerful and led us all directly back to Garmanjang. That we can name the terror. We can vanquish terror in her name. Security can be pain-free without brute force if we just acquiesce to Garmanjang's much greater will. There is but one choice to be made. There's nothing random, and for those who choose her, choose castration. They choose it to fit the program or the error.
Jockstrap rushes in. They bond immediately. He looks even more Asian, almost identical to Terror Master in limb.
Hey, Jockstrap! Hey, got some Uber provinces for you to govern. Yeah, nice action figure carnage. Go, bro!
Terror Master exits into flickers of mass castration. Jockstrap campaign. Ads and news flow into cults of personality, political branding, gated and guarded silver suburbs. Jockstrap uses his silver phallus like a pair of nunchucks. Okay. If you don't like mass castration, well, you always got a toilet. This one's kinda far outside the Silver Cities, in the hinterlands of waste, pollution, and failed products. You might end up in a sinkhole of waste, pollution, and failed products, cheap labor, plague, torture, fragmentation built to keep your lifespan short and lonely. I mean, we've got the most superior cult of personality on our side. We've got the gated and the guarded on our side. Independence got a little impotent, you know? There's no more difference between news and entertainment, religion or politics, culture, sex. We got a merger!
We're the brand of dragon and eagle! We're the units, baby! Mass castration is the brand of brands!
So, go ahead! You can be an iPod rebel, weekend adventure warrior, or a recreational revolutionary if you have to. You'll still fit right into this kind of market. It's the greatest merger of all time. Okay, look, I want it to be liked, you know? But now, my ego isn't regional. It isn't even global. It's way beyond that. I am at a supreme pavilion kind of level. Like where it's like I'm right next to her. It's like I'm inside. I am in. So, you know, if you need some help, just let me know, because I can get you into mass castration. The Chucky campaign, Stepfordism, infantilism, hedonism, cyber obsession, compulsion. Chucky, infantilized, now looking like a strange Asian giant baby, sometimes using his silver testicles like pit-pack balls, says,
Can I just tell you personally how I felt when I mean, in the act of my own castration. I relive it every day and I see it mass produced around me and I'm like, whoa. I feel like I was in a warm, sort of melting place and I could just eat and play and fart voice and all my evil voice that up and melted and kind of just like merged. And I was merging with the greatest Garmajang, and I kind of just like played it. I chased it, found out that it's not complex. There is an answer. There used to be too many choices. I mean, like dragon versus eagle versus, you know, I'm simplifying stuff because what had been in my program of identity or culture or whatever, yeah, that was all trial and error, but now it's like really solving for me. See, I took that moment that I really liked, okay, the moment of my orchestration as a trigger, and I made that mine. So then, you see, I'm the eunuch, and you could be the eunuch too. Also, like whenever, you can just go over and get over that and stay there. You can turn it on, and it's all bliss.
Chapter 6, Comrade Confession, Year 9. Boji Lam Kung Fu School, a nostalgic studio where the two comrades Hung Shi-Kwan and Wong Fei-Hung used to gather from abandoned era before they were heroes. Kung Fu chess, the brothers having friendly spar and chat, no score. They used to work out matters of great weight this way.
Horse dance and your no shadow kick. You've come to a place I never taught you. Ah, yes. The great man knows to rule the world, he must collect the world. So you collected finally the fifth cardinal direction. After north, south, east, and west, the center found you, as it does. You taught me to command a tribute from each interregion, an uncommon cauldron to be molten from the strangest beings, wild zones and cultureless savagery, so we could recognize the evil. This is not my teaching. You misinterpret what I came here to apologize. You have made a grand mistake. I came to humble myself. Then let me humble you. You grossly remastered the history of Garmajang. You exaggerated her importance, fanned the flames of fanaticism around her, made no mention of her defeat by 5 forgotten true disciples of Shaolin with an improvised drunken fist fighting style. My perception of the past, why did you commit this? My patriotism clouded my... We were in peril. We were lost. For your grand excuse. I concede defeat. I brought back the betrayer, the Shaolin temple. I was wrong. You must acknowledge publicly that the true Garmajang was an average, angry teenager overtaken by savage opportunism. That her gluttony of power and greed sucked dry the sacred history of Shaolin through scrolls of knowledge meant to be collective. That would be political suicide. My elimination would change nothing. But you must expose the real Garmajang as the betrayer and destroyer of the Shaolin temple for a few invincible moments. You must confess that if anyone had raised their voice like this in your regime, if anyone dug deep enough to find the truth of Garmajang, they would have faced a sea of opiated masses, would have been blacklisted, would have expected to disappear. I was seduced by strange fragmented writings, suspicious signs of discreet esoterica, a vein of hinterland scholars and sent letters to persuade me to think our greatness could return with incantations to appear in silk and cinnabar, and I began to study atavism, Garmanjan, the fragments of a copy of a lost scroll. It was the talisman, the logic that I craved. I became possessed by her. I thought she was the one love of my life. I felt her calling to me. I was fatally wrong. I need your mercy, not your condemnation. I beg forgiveness, Wang Fei Hung, but I cannot do what you advise without your help. Then it is time for both of us to rise up, to remove her power. I have waited for this very moment. We must reveal that she is not an eagle, not a patriot. She's not a dragon. She is Garmanjang. She is a poisoned soul bent on finishing the ruin she started at Shaolin to glorify herself. We must expose her. We must find some resistance to her. There is very little. No resistance can ever be as powerful as the 5 ancestors. We must resist her, Comrade. I've also come to tell you, there were traces of rebellion, but they've all been crushed. The last remnants of resistance were about 5 years ago. There was one small band of rebels. I have followed rumors of some children seeing shadows in a remote mountain area. I caution you in following the mystic shadows. My comrade, there was one rebel last seen dangling from a precipice. Even Garmanjang was nostalgic to learn of a young girl's death. Her fiery ego and prodigious talents reminded her of herself as a young prodigy. We must find her. We must sponsor her resistance. Let it catch fire. We must work together now. Yim Wing Chun. Still camouflaged. I'm sure she's still alive.
Intermission. Verses 5 through 9. Yim Wing Chung is caught in a timeless cave, locked in endless battles.
At the edge of darkness, I pitched 1,000 battles. from lack of sleep, hunger, and exposure to the sky, the white barbarians chased my band of rebels to the hinterland cliffs.
Come back to the stadium, baby. We'll take you down in front of way more people.
Who are my assassins working for today, I wonder, as their mercenary fires blew from wind to wind, first hating me for all the eagles, then for the demon murder Garmanjang.
You're the only thorn left in the side of Garmanjang. There's no fear, no rage, but yours against us. Hey now, why not enjoy yourself? Give up the ghost, come chill with us.
And then her eunuchs, stripped of their humanity, eyes and hair stripped silver with a special fever.
We have assimilated all your fighting styles. Today, we're your painted dog.
Outnumbered and surrounded at the edge of a precipice, I watched my last 3 loyal rebels plunging headlong to their death. I remember falling for a long time through some rocks into a golden pool of water that made no sound. The pool led underground to a river. Gleams of darkness flickered over my body like secrets from long ago. I must be dead, or maybe dying. These might be my ancestors drifting over me, struck still in their greatest moments. And then silence. For a long time. Silence. And then a soft voice, like a waterfall, rocking me like ripples of water against a stone.
You will wake up full of fury, full of bitterness for years of fighting what can never be won. You'll feel the loss of many comrades lost, the world turned upside down. As the days go by, your hatred and your rage will ebb and flow. You'll feel the tyranny, injustice of the world. You'll start to doubt the things you knew before, that you belong to this world, that it will always be enough for you.
I tried to scream within my silence. No, I wasn't enough for my own revolution. I couldn't gather enough support. I would have never failed my mission. You don't understand. I did nothing wrong. I never flinched. I never fled from danger, but it was all wrong. Every movement crushed with monolithic power. I was a fugitive. I was no one. I had nothing and nowhere. And no sound came. And I couldn't move.
The past is always bitter. It will always consume us. You must lose the world in order to find peace. You have seen it all. There is no more to see, except what you have never seen. The way of the enlightenment, you can transcend what you are now. There is a way of learning that is deeper than the body or the mind. You must put away the world. Come to the world within the world. Put away your anger, your past, your history, your name.
I don't care who you are, and I don't need your advice. I could crush you in one flash if I could just move my fist. I don't need this prison. of the feeble babblings of some old crone.
To Yin Wing Chung's amazement, she lashes out of her coma, tries to strike the throat of the shadow of the voice. Deftly, the shadow defends herself in a shocking display of martial arts ability.
Warfare cannot be controlled with a mere defeat. You must transform the very conditions that produce the conflict, what empowered your enemy and yourself. Conquering is easy. It is the transformation that is hard. The way of the warrior is to fight for beauty, justice, honor. The solutions are within the veils of nature, beyond the toxifying way of cutting, burning, poisons of the world you knew.
I never asked her name, her history. I called her teacher, and for the first time crying with the rage and pain that flooded over me. She trained me from that day for many years. Deep within the mysteries and the temptations of the cave, she never told me anything about herself except that she had been a scapegoat. That the world could not accept her innocence and wash their hands of her. That even her few most loyal rebels in the end forsook her, torn and scattered. And I was her only student. For many years her voice would murmur like a river in my soul, teaching me. She showed me how to learn from my own breathing, listen to the breath of all things, to increase my stamina and heart, to fold my wings down in the fight against the great peril. How to hunt by scent out of sight, to track the scavengers, the keenest sight, to steal their warm kill. How to ambush when my strength is gone, use my backbone as a spring, lengthening my stride, my strength, my invincible body armor. Using the glare of the sun as camouflage, fighting in midair, striking from the jackants of my face and from behind the petal of my brow, the rose and yellow from my hands, the blue and purple of my shadow. To direct my strength upward to higher purpose and downward to the duty. To search for rain and darkness for my food, and to bring the peacock to my voice.
cannot break through to Yim Wing Chang. The cave is as a membrane hermetically sealed.
When the dragon monks finally break into our sanctuary of time, my teacher vanishes.
Yen Wei Chun, we come to beg you to return. Complete your mission against Garman Zhang, now known as the soon-to-be self-coronated eternal empress of the earth.
I found another world, another way. I cannot leave my teacher now. She is my destiny.
Who is your teacher, Yin Wing Chun? I am here.
I am her teacher.
Master Nimue, the greatest hand-to-hand boxer of all time, and fifth of the 5 ancestors who defeated Garman Zhang 60 years ago. We humbly bow to the venerated teacher to us all, whose skills are unsurpassed. We stand in awe of you and your legendary abilities, Master Nimue. But we beg you to join us and return to confront our bitter enemy, your sister, Garman Zhang. As 5th of the 5 ancestors, you know that you could only defeat Garman Zhang with combined abilities. Each of us will fail if we rebel alone. We need you both to join us, to inspire millions underground, giving hope and birth to one last resistance for the good of all.
I know well what you face, but I have taken a vow to step outside of history. After the assassination of Chen Duck, first of the 5 ancestors, I withdrew from the world to find another way. I was guilty by association with my sister. A chill goes through my soul to hear her name. But I can never break my solitary vow. I give to you, my only student in my place. And I give to you this gift to open only if my student's life should come to peril.
Ying Moy gives the last secret scroll to Hung Shiquan.
With many tears and much grief, I fall upon my teacher now, my strength, my soul. Leaving her is the gravest duty I have ever held.
Chapter 8. Enshrining the Eternal Empress of the Earth. In her new world order, Garman Zhang has declared the end of history and the beginning of year 0, when she will consume all final power to herself. She will unveil her first golden celestial pavilion of supremacy and harmony in her hyperbolic demonization of oneness. The elite guard of her eunuchs enter. They look almost exactly like Garman Zhang now. It is nearly impossible to tell them apart from her. They seem to share her consciousness, so that even though one of them speaks, it is as if she speaks through them all. of the world address. Beyond all history, fantasy, and the future as we knew it, we trumpet the triumph of the eternal empress of the earth. We know you feel a mad rush to survive this game, more deadly than all wars combined, more destructive than mass destruction. You see, we built for you this moment, this celestial pavilion. At every turn you'll find the gleam and excellent conceit of a golden monolith. Our world is merged. It will expire here tonight at the 0 hour. Millions are tuned in to find out what will happen after Dragon versus Eagle. We await the future. We give to you tonight, winner of the winners. We give to you the full enshrining of the eternal empress of the earth, the golden god.
This was once your world and your confusion, but I unveil for you right now the shattering of history, the end of time, beginning of year 0, and you will never again be poor. You will have no more bills to pay. You will want for nothing. You will never again fear war or violence, or the turning of a friend or enemy against you. You will never again feel crime or fear despair. There will be no more problems, no more waiting, no more traffic. You will never worry or feel panic. I am your guard. I am your security. You will find no more pollutants or toxins. You will eat whenever you crave and never grow fat or sick. You will never experience another confusing emotion. Never be too angry, too sad, or jealous, or bitter. You will never again feel crazy, stupid, or lose control. You will be absolutely clear in your mind. You'll never feel that manic ecstasy of the high before the low. You will feel constant pleasure, balanced slightly towards a good day, good weather, lovely places, and beautiful things. You will always be beautiful, smart, funny, powerful, important, famous,
Quan. Yin Wing Chang steps up to face Garmon Jung alone. There is something preternatural Garmon Jung begins to recognize in the way Yin Wing Chang fights. Shi Quan works madly on the scroll, an ominous portending. Garmon Jung becomes suspicious as she is not completely bored now. This is the first time Garmon Jung looks shaky.
We call for the end of heaven built for sport on the backs of the unseen and the voiceless hinterlands. Shoved to the margins of hell, we call forth all the voiceless and the unseen to rebellion. Now is the time for every silhouette and shadow to rise up.
Garmon Jung is on the verge of killing Yin Wing Chang. She holds her like a rag doll, unconscious as she gloats.
Poor little ragdoll rebel. Was that what you've been training for? Since the last time I ran you out of my empire on a rail? Is that your best foot forward? Or do you want to give me something more? She gone, like lady invincible body armor, which could only come from a secret scroll. Only trouble is, I read that scroll myself. Good thing I got your bloody slate, so I can show what happens to resistance. What better way to teach the hinterlands it's really futile to?
Shi Quan opens the scroll that Ying Moi gave him. The scroll becomes a small door and reveals Ying Moi stepping back into history.
Get away from her, you bitch!
Chapter 9, Final Battle, The Return of Ying Moi. In the final battle, Ying Moi joins her student to fight her sister Garmon Jung. While they fight, Shi Quan unravels the secret of the two combined scrolls. The world twists fatefully between 3 generations of women and power on all levels.
There you are, my sister. Ah, the baby demon girl who giggles just like sunshine. I was so heavy in your arms, a burden as you begged for bread, begged for shelter in the temple of Shaolin for both of us. I never begged until you brought my mother down. We never begged until your birth made us the outcasts of the concubines. I have paid dearly for the fate of my birth. I was guilty by association with you, by blood, by misogyny. I myself became a beggar and a prostitute, like your mother. My father was imperial. Your father was the best. Your father raped our mother on a whim, then threw her from the palace like a piece of trash. Only death could separate my beggar father from your mother. I had my father's blue blood. You're the trash. My father gnashes. My father gnashes even now, in molten purple seeping from the caves to stain the rice. I remember everything you taught me, sister. How to learn the fears of my opponents. I have no fear. I am invincible. I curse the blood that I once shared with you. I curse the monks and nuns for showing you mercy when they showed me nothing but contempt. You can't cheat to win, Kingsley, this time. I've grown immune to all the poisons of your soul. I curse the times that I defended you and took your whippings. We were once together in our own world, you and me. I was everything to you, do you remember? I was all you had. You used to sing to me how you would butcher the world, the whole world, for me. That you
love me more than you love yourself. That you could never kill me because you love me. So you could only one day kill the world I love. Do you remember? Did you think I was asleep? That you had put me to sleep with such a lullaby? You're no longer beholden just to me, little sister. One hand feeding one small mouth can bite that hand. I saw your teeth grow one by one. I would have butchered the whole world for you. But now, I have created my own world, where everyone and everything shall bow to me. I found a way to reproduce myself at Warp 10 opportunism. I can be everywhere. I can embody everyone at once surrounding you. I can be everything you see. This is my 0 hour in my kingdom, in my world. My time, a deep space wormhole power of my kingdom of myself. Kingdom of one, my kingdom of Garmanjan. Garmanjan reveals her hermaphroditic organs. This happened in Shaolin Temple's burning. She is a meta-human and accumulation of all gender. She becomes hideous, multiracial, and androgynous in her lust for power and passion that brought her back, remastered at first. This was just a mask. She reveals who she is in reality now. Garmanjang's response to truth is to multiply herself, multivocal like schizophrenia. Ingmoy merges the concreteness of the temporal as if in distortion. There is a different circle of time around Ingmoy. This fight is witnessed by the hinterlands which erupt. Garmanjang is stretched thin, spending too much energy. The hinterlands encircle the silver cities. In the battle between 3 women, heaven and hell explode. It's true. Final secrets of the scroll. Hung Shi Quan links the true scrolls together. They become translucent. He translates from the scroll as he dies.
Fighting without philosophy is simply brutality. Philosophy without fighting is just a daydream.
truth before. This is a fight beyond what's possible to read, beyond the end of writing. This fight will make all scrolls, all writing obsolete.
It's okay. She doesn't understand us yet. Stay ahead of her. She's taking her possession of all units in her world. She knows the hinterlands have risen up. She fights them all first by reproducing herself exponentially by billions. She strips the unit clones of their humanity.
They'll be much weaker now. They used to be gladiators. She'll discover that her eunuchs are less able.
Their distinct myths being lost. They're defective.
Remember not to use the scrolls the same way Hung Shi Quan did last time. Redeem his earlier mistake by using history to cure the present.
Her warped 10 opportunism is stretched thin. Her propaganda falters and truth revealed.
She's returning now to hideousness. Her remastering is being broken.
Still too multiple! Her multiple abilities, limbs, locations, mass production, and brutality will still surround, outnumber, and defeat us.
Don't think like a warrior. Don't move like a warrior.
Yes! We've reached a platform of combat that is no longer physical or temporal. There is a music in the wisdom of my ancestors. I can feel their strength. I can feel their truth. I see the music of 1,000 years in one twinkling eye. An esoterica, an alchemy uncommon yet bound in the treaties of the veins of the earth. I feel a blessed Lord that will never arrive. I know in the case of great men, there will always be plagues, blood in the marketplace, and fire. I see a clarity not canonized by reason. I know a learning that was lost and forged and pirated and lost again and then cut back to virtues hidden and extreme, thought to be an error from the dark realm of the cinnabar.
She's incapable of changing. She cannot transform. She's isolated. She leans against her technology to master nature. This nature cannot be forever plundered. Consequences coming home to roost. They are beyond violence, culture, and genocide. They are forbidden fruit.
The hinterlands withdraw their strength, their labor. She is exposed, locked into patterns of behavior incapable of interacting. She has shut herself in the hysteria of her euphoria, sealed herself in the dark matter that has no nature. She has lost all connection to the natural world.
Herself has no seam, no split, no social relation. Her circumference is a void.
She is centrifugal to absolute impotence, deadlocked in the failure of imagination.
This was the one scroll that my sister never deeply studied because it was not a scroll about fighting. Some had interpreted its legend as outer space boxing, a hidden universe, definition of space, the galaxy and cosmos, unified string theory, or dark matter, how freedom is imperfect, that the struggle is human and the struggle for freedom is an act of freedom, but the scroll is revealed to contain the mystery of the power to imagine new worlds, which Garmanja can never possess in her kingdom of one and warped 10 opportunism. In this, the scrolls, the dragons and the eagles will be obsolete. The purity of orthodoxy and the canon will never last. They are unnatural. The secret combinations of the final scroll lead to all life forms interacting, to transformation, spontaneous origin, and a future where truth can never be destroyed.
It will exist forever once it is imagined.
We are the ones to bring about this change. It will start with us.
Wang Fei Hung and Chen Jack's voice are coming into my voice.
Chen Jack's spirit embodies Yim Wing Chang. First of the 5, intelligence.
Porky Dragon and Chin-Chi's fist are coming into my fist.
Yi Shin spirit embodies Yim Wing Chang. Second of the 5, spirit.
Good for nothing. These Wen now names are coming into my name.
Yi Wen Bao spirit embodies Yim Wing Chang. Third of the 5, compassion.
Hung Shi Quan and Miao spirits coming into my soul.
Fourth of the 5,
imagination, the alto spirit enters into Yim Wing Chang.
There's a history.
Yim Wing Chang receives a burst of this multiple truth and spirit manifold as the five fight all together once again. Fifth of the five. Sacrifice. The two translucent scrolls transform into the most beautiful translucent fruit, which Yingmoi gives to Yim Wing Chang, as Yingmoi's spirit embodies Yim Wing Chang, and all five vanish. Garmanjong finally perishes, and the entire world becomes translucent, clear, and then vanishes, except for Yim Wing Chang alone.
How old is this secret? What is this secret? What is it that we have imagined? Can we ever grasp it again? Why am I what you say I am? Why did I never see myself in you? Why do I see myself now in this strange fruit with its bright abundance overflowing? How did we do this? How did we maintain distinction and unite as a whole much greater than the sum of parts? How can we go back in time and forward and be present? What was it in the cave? In the retreat? What was it in the struggle? What was it in the labor infinitely to be human? How can we have been suddenly interdependent and yet diverse? Why did we always press forward and never arrive? Why do we rely on the knowledge of our eyes and ears to judge the subtle and the marvelous? Why do we hesitate as we sip from this ladle? Why do we see these clouds above us fill with tears? And why do we see the cut trees bleed? How do the arrows sent through 100 hearts get written on our faces? How can we know the soul by its own music? How can we defeat the monstrous terrors of the world with art and beauty, compassion, honor, and intelligence? And how do we breathe the 1,000-pace fragrance of forbidden fruit? Where is the hidden seam of great and common, center and periphery, human and non-human that can collide and dance the tracks of birds, the markings of the dragon, the patterns of the night that may not have existed? May not yet exist. In between the beautiful and rare, in plain sight.